US for separated Arab Emirate in Dubai. Hush Puppy initially denied all charges. He later changed his plea and was sentenced to 11 years. Similarly, Woodbury, accused of defrauding a U.S. company of about $188,000, maintained his innocence for over 2 years. However, a reverse course entered the plea again to one count of wire fraud at a change of plea hearing in April, and consequently convicted on 1 out of 8 count following his plea bargain. And they're talking about 100 months behind bar. Then subsequently deported. Quite interesting. All right, so there we have it. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Hard Facts Roundtable in your passionate, trustworthy conversational radio. I'm Kimberly Nwachukwu. Call me Kim, the Oracle, the Digital Oracle, OTF fellow, Madam Speaker Ochanya, one of Nigeria Info. And for those who are already asking, I'm serious. Dr. Majid is here. Like this one that Kim is reading Hush Puppy story. What is she trying to tell us? Nothing. Dr. Majid Dahiru is with me in the studio, patiently just listening to the Hush Puppy story. I mean, I just felt like, so that anybody midweek who is thinking of something illegal or criminal should just know that, you know.
It doesn't pay, right?
Exactly. That's why I put the story out. So crime doesn't pay. Dr. Majid, you're welcome. How are you?
Thank you very much. You're cool. I'm fine.
You know anyone who goes by the name Wednesday?
Not really, but I'm not surprised to hear of someone.
It's from the South.
Definitely.
Wednesday.
I was going to ask. Is the person from River State or Bayelsa?
I mean, that's why I met Wednesday and a calendar as a proper name, but he changed his name. He now goes by God's favor. He doesn't like to be a So there's so much to look at, so much to talk about. We're still anticipating the ministers. Apparently in Nigeria, it's a big deal when we're waiting for ministerial list. There's a lot of speculation that, in short, my mom, who is the peddler of everything on WhatsApp, I've told her to be careful before they come and pick her one day and ask her, where did she get this thing that she used to use? She said, forward as received. And there's a detailed list of all the ministers. I even saw J.J. Okocha as Minister of State. I said, all right, it's not officially out yet. Yes. We'll see how many people from this fabricated list will make it the real list. But while we're at that, there are people who are clamoring. You know, they say, about 5 governors will be there. Some are saying Wike's name should be there. He's paid his dues and all of that. And then with this, that the APC willing to receive Wike-led G5 into its fold, according to Abdullahi Adamu, the national chairman of the party, that the party is willing to receive the former River State governor, the G5 into its fold. And I'm going to disclose this while speaking during an interview on Arise. And the APC chairman noted that the G5 will be most welcome whenever they decide to opt for the ruling party. Meanwhile, Adamu has rubbished the rumor difference between him and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and said he observed some commendation or deserves some commendation for leading the party towards successful presidential primaries and the eventual victory of Tinubu. He had quite a lot to say. But then I noticed even the former governor of Kaduna State, who was 1 minute people felt it was anti-Tinubu, coming out and he feels like speaking from both sides of the cheek. Oh, no, it's commendable. Whatever he's doing is based on merit and not, sectional interest or political interest and all of that. And going by the fabricated list that Dele Alake said, we should totally ignore. I mean, some people fabricated and put his name there. So it would be interesting to actually see who these players are. But even more interesting to see what becomes of the G5. I know you don't have a crystal ball in front of you, Dr. Majid, to predict the future. No. However, the political writing on the wall can almost tell if these people will go into oblivion or still remain relevant politically.
It's a serious issue because in the build-up to the 2023 presidential election, particularly, this is a piece about the PDP, where I warned the PDP, or cautioned rather, against that party sailing against the wind of power shift to the south. Otherwise, the shape of that party will hit crisis and probably sink into oblivion. And, well, that may have just come to pass. Because the PDP is there to recover from that loss. And the PDP being an establishment party is not likely to survive another 4 years of opposition. Particularly we have a skilled politician, an astute politician, somebody who is a grandmaster of the game in Nigeria as president. And I'm talking about President Bola Tinubu himself in the villa. So it's a tough call for the survival of the PDP beyond 2023 in its current form. Now, clearly the G5 faction led by Wike has emerged the dominant force or power within the PDP as we speak. They seem to be taking the lead from the Atiku-led faction of the party. For example, they have somehow successfully gotten rid of the former party chairman, Senator Yocha Ayu.
Okay, yeah.
Now, if you look at the leadership of the National Assembly, the minority leadership positions appear to have gone to the G5-backed candidates in both houses. And I'm also aware from the grapevine, from the information available to me, that there will soon be a move to take over the party completely by the G5. And as it stands, I don't see anybody or entity within that party that can actually challenge the G5. The G5 take over of the PDP effectively. Because, as always, the candidate of the party in the last election, Atiku Abubakar, appears to have receded again, once again, into his
cocoon of some sort.
Exactly.
But some would say because the presidential election tribunal is going on, what more can he really do?
The thing is, that was the mistake he made in 2019. That was the mistake he made even in earlier times he contested for election. When you are a politician, when you contest an election, whether you lose or win, you must stay focused and remain relevant to the party. But keep funding the party and keep supporting the party in ways, in whatever ways you can do that. But again, he has left a vacuum, and Wike is filling that gap quickly. So, and of course, Wike supported the current president to come to power in many ways than people may actually have realized. But he did support the candidacy of Bola Tinubu. And I'm also aware that he's been seriously considered for the post, for the ministerial position. Seriously. I'll be surprised if he doesn't make it. Because, of course, in politics, anything is possible. So things can change even between now and whenever the list to come about. If nothing changes...
And if he makes it and still remains in his party...
That is the problem I'm saying. Whereas the G5, again, from information I have, intends to remain in the PDP. Wike intends to remain in PDP member, even as a minister.
Wow.
But that is where I think that the grandmaster in the villa will undercut them, because he would embark on, also stage, should I say, the charm offensive that is ongoing now. If you observe, everybody goes to the villa to see the president now, across party lines, from across every region.
Yeah.
So I think that ultimately the G5 will first help to take over the PDP and probably lead the PDP into the APC. And this is because it's as simple as, look, the APC, led by the president now, President Tinubu, will simply embrace the G5 that will now be in charge of PDP in the shortest possible time. For what I'm hearing is, there will be a declaration of factions. A lot of this will happen in the PDP.
It won't be the first time they're having NPDP.
A lot of this will happen that will now start cleaning up the party and hand it over to the G5 faction. A lot of this will happen. So, as it's happening, we'll keep discussing them on this show. The challenges are up in the game as we speak. So I think that the president, as usual, will embrace the G5 and lure them to bed and give them a kiss of death. So the PDP is most likely going to go into oblivion and just become a party that will be used to win elections wherever they have some level of influence. And that is why I have always pointed out that in the same way that Obasanjo was able to also lure the ANPP then and the AD into their early dates and made some of them impotent, like the ANPP was largely impotent, with all the governors being loyal to Obasanjo, why their candidates would just be running around, that is likely to happen in a more tactical form. So the only option that would have been left to Nigerians would have been Labour Party. And that's why I have my fears. I've been calling out the leaders of Labour Party and those who voted for the Labour Party candidates. What happened during the National Assembly leadership election is something that should be of concern to those who voted for Labour Party. Whereas I support the fact that a majority party in the parliament should have the first right of first refusal for leadership positions. And others have contested with them. But what I do not know is if the support that we saw Labour Party giving this candidate, was it based on this principle of international legislative best practices? Or was it also a product or a function or an outcome of President Tinubu's charm offensive? I ask this question because what was agreed? Because ordinarily, let me tell you how it works.
But was there like a proper agreement as to say this is how you conduct yourself, this is how you come in?
No, but that's why I've been calling on both the candidate of the Labour Party and the leadership of the Labour Party, the party chairman, and the NLC for that matter. Nigerians went out of their way. If you know how difficult it is to vote outside the establishment, you would appreciate what I'm saying. They filed out under the rain and under the sun. On that same day of election, there was rain, there was sun.
Yeah.
People voted up until sometimes as late as early morning, early hours of the next day. It was that people stood. These people do not deserve to be betrayed for doing what they think is in the best interest of the country. Because ordinarily, the Labour Party should have been the most potent opposition party today to keep our democracy alive and vibrant. Because the PDP is slowly going into oblivion, no doubt about that. So that is my worry, really, from all of these conversations.
PDP people might not agree with you, but we've seen PDP suffer a bloody nose over years.
The PDP has lost its base.
The first half of even President Buhari's administration, we saw they were having internal wrangling in court, weakened their strength.
What saved that situation was that the PDP had its base in the south, in the so-called middle belt part of Nigeria, intact. PDP has lost its base in the southeast, in the south-south.
It does not really have a hold anywhere.
Nowhere. The APC is still very much strong in the north and southwest, and it's now making inroads into the former PDP stronghold. So the PDP is as good as gone, and there's no ideological orientation of the party to be able to attract organic followership, such as how people identify something in Peter Obi and the party that brought about that surge. The PDP is not able to do that because it's an establishment party that is used to doing business as usual in terms of politics. But my concern here is you cannot have this conversation without bringing in the Labour Party. I think those who voted for the Labour Party candidates should begin to ask them, how come in the first 1 month or so that they've been inaugurated as members of the National Assembly, we've not had a clear legislative agenda that seeks to check.
Isn't it too early, Dr. Majid?
No, I mean, the government has started. We've not seen any attempt. Are you not surprised that there's no Labour MP so far that has spoken against the hardship that Nigerians are facing today? Have you noticed that it's not on the table? There's no conversation around that from any political party. So I'm saying, what was the agreement entered into with the Labour Party, an anti-establishment party, with the establishment party of the APC, that led to their support for the APC candidate? Is it to share booties? War booties from the election in the National Assembly in the form of committee chairmanship and committee membership, juicy committees? Is that what the Labour Party has done in the National Assembly? Then those who voted for the Labour Party must be worried at this point. You see, I know that there's a focus on the tribunal, on the...
I was going to come that. I mean, I know you would say it's not mutually exclusive or you can do all of those things at once, but there's a tendency to be distracted by one thing and focus on it.
And I'm saying that distraction should not make us lose focus. You know why I'm saying this? Democracy, there are fears that democracy might die in Nigeria as it has died in some other countries respectively, and Nigeria might become a one-party state. And I've said, look, it's not because the APC or the PDP will do certain things that we know them to do, but it's because those that Nigerians trusted and known afresh in the last election might simply join the dining table, get sucked in, and we leave Nigerians devastated to the point where it will be difficult to reawaken Nigerians once more to volunteer, to sacrifice, and to look beyond money, ethnicity, and religion, to vote along certain lines in order to sanitize and clean the audience table of political leadership in Nigeria. So I'm worried. I've been sending these subtle warnings that, look, we need to check on our Labour Party MPs because I know that Nigerians sacrifice all to vote for them, including the only Labour Party governor. Because the only way to keep opposition alive today is one, for Labour Party MPs to be truly honorable and truly distinguished senators and House of Rep members. And for the governor, that one governor that they have, to be truly excellent. Did you see how Alisoti emerged as governor? Yeah. Such a governor cannot afford to fail at all. He has to be extremely excellent to justify that huge sacrifice that the people of Abia State made.
I've heard supporters of the party saying maybe Nigerians are being overtly critical of these legislators and that governor. It feels like too much pressure, too much responsibility to just shine bright.
Much is given, much expected. For the PDP MPs and for Labour Party and the APC MPs, most of them being traditional establishment people, did the normal things to get to power. Some of them will tell you that we've paid our bills up front, so it's time to harvest. No problem. So you can't really hold them to that, because if you are voting for somebody who gave you money, you have very limited choice in what he does. But I'm saying, in Abuja, for example, a senator was voted to unseat one of the most powerful senators of the Fourth Republic, effortlessly. The same thing happened in the House of Reps. Governors were defeated. Sitting governors were uprooted by Labour Party. In Dudi Olimelu, the majority leader of the House of Reps, a PDP chief, Dudi Olimelu, was voted by a Labour Party candidate that I still don't know his name as we speak. I still don't know who that person is. A Labour Party candidate won a tier of federal constituency where Tinubu resides. Defeated Banky Double in the process. It was after they voted in the guy and also accounted in favor of Labour Party. People started asking, so what's the candidate of Labour Party in this federal constituency?
It was the strategy APC employed, APC SAC in 2015, and people were just like, anything Labour Party is endorsed. The same way the APC guys betrayed that democratic change, that change revolution, the Labour Party must not do that. Sometimes some of us give futuristic warnings. We try to say, look, we are seeing the problem that can be corrected. So the people that voted for these people must call them to say, what is your legislative agenda? I know I'm saying this. There is a lot of corruption in the National Assembly. You see, the corruption that's endemic in Nigeria is epitomized in the National Assembly. It's there. That's why our budgeting system is hugely corrupt. And committees like appropriation and are considered juicy. Because 60% of the corruption cases in Nigeria goes to procurement. And procurement starts with them. I'm saying, have these MPs gone into there to partake in this corruption? If not, they need to state it clearly that we are here to serve as agents of change. We may not be able to change the system, but for us, we don't want to betray those who voted for us. And let me actually say this too. I don't want to say too much about this. I'm aware of a lot of money that changed hands in the process of the leadership election or selection in the National Assembly. A lot of money changed hands. And I've asked those concerned, those that said, so in this bazaar that took place, dollars being spent here and there, what did the Labour Party MPs do? Were they part of it? And the answer I got was quite worrying. And that's why early in the day I called on the Labour Party to say, call your MPs and give them the proper orientation. Say, you can't go there and partake. You can't be part of this. That was what we were voted for. That's why Nigerians crowdfunded us. Then just had the choice to collect money and vote for these other guys and not vote for you. So a lot of responsibilities on their shoulders. Let's go on a quick break, Dr. Majid. We'll take it up after the break. Stay with us.
To wait till I graduate from this school before I think of what to do with my life. Exactly.
Hello, my name is Kimberly. I'm the host of Hard Facts, and I bring you the biggest stories driving conversation every weekday here on 95.1 Nigeria Info Hard Fact Show. I love to get your opinion and conjectures, but the facts you cannot dispute here on Hard Facts. Join me and let's talk.
This is Nigeria. This is Nigeria Info.
Reflect that and translate it into that people envisage and would have achieved in government, which is decent governance, good governance, integrity, incorruptibility, it should be reflected in those that have won election on this platform, so that people can now see it and be justified in the actions they took. Why I'm saying this is that the PDP is likely to, again, will go into bed with the APC and get the kiss of death, and that might spell the end of effective opposition in Nigeria. Because members of the PDP and the APC are practically the same people.
When one dies, another rises.
The Senate President today, he was the PDP chieftain from 1999 to 2018. So there's no difference between these two parties. So if anything happens to the Labour Party and is not able to function and does not provide that alternative for the Nigerian people, our democracy might slip into a one-party state.
Well, we had that fear with the PDP, but today it's not the case. When PDP was in power and they felt they were too powerful before the merger of AMPP, MPC, CPN,
there was a Buhari who was like...
It's always about one man at the end of the day.
That is the point. So, we should have thought that by now a party would have been that totality, no longer an individual. So you know what to expect from a Labour Party MP. For example, if a Labour Party MP goes for oversight functions, we know what happens on oversight functions. Let us say in the media that these ones come to oversight functions, they don't work for anybody to pay their to hotel bills, they don't collect kickbacks, nothing, they do their work, and write minority reports where necessary. We want to see this in the next 4 years. Because for people that have got elected without paying shishi, they should not go in there and start accepting not just shishi, but plenty shishis. It's important.
All right.
So this position must go hand in hand, because PDP is on its way into oblivion. If Wike accepts Michelle appointment, there's no way the PDP can function, especially when they are not in charge of the PDP. There's no way.
All right. Well, let's hope that they are above board. And even though it looks like the leadership of the Labour Party is not well, it's defined, but because between when you have the presidential candidate grappling with issues in court, the Presidential Election Tribunal, and then the whole issue they had with who is the right chairman of the Labour Party also was something that weakened a little until that aspect of it was put to rest. I would say all of those was maybe just maybe one of the reasons why it held back. So you've not had someone truly coordinating and driving the party.
That is the responsibility of the candidate of the party, who is now the leader of the party, the person that Nigerians trusted enough to vote for this party, to the extent that for the first time in Nigeria's history, for the first time, a third force, an anti-establishment party, came third in the national election. But the results declared, and won 12 states, 11 plus 1, FCT, 12. So it was not a mean feat, even by the results declared. Even though they're challenging the result and saying, look, it does not reflect what happened. Even with this result, it's not something to be taken lightly. So I'm saying people should begin to call out the MPs they voted for to say, hey, what are you going to keep quiet and allow Nigerians begin to suffer the way they're suffering? What is your legislative agenda? What are you doing there to protect our interests? People need to ask these questions. And it's not too late to ask. And the election of the party, led by Peter B himself, should call a meeting of these people and tell them, we have a responsibility to people who voted for us shishilessly. We have a responsibility. We can't betray them. We can't let them down at our own level. I want to hold the government accountable on behalf of the people. This is very important.
I get the drift 100%. So a lot is resting on their shoulder to be exceptional. John Aliena from Facebook says, Kim, I don't see Labour Party going anywhere after this 2023 election. I can see APC becoming stronger. Watch at very soon the APC will soon be receiving many new decampees. So he doesn't have much confidence that Labour Party is the future strong opposition.
Yeah, I have. So this person is just trying to say, look, nothing can change this. And I'm saying that will be sad. It will be very sad for people to now witness those that they lined up under the sun and under the rain to vote for, decamping into the APC.
But then you would also look at the ideology of the party, really, beyond the whole frenzy around Peter Obi and what he represents. Is it something that you say the entire party, that the fact that you have a Peter Obi who is held placed in a certain pedestal, that you have every single person within the Labour Party having that same vision and drive?
It's not just about vision.
So it's about
the basic issues of governance. Not being corrupt. So you don't need an ideology to not be corrupt. Whether you think left or right, it's a common denominator for you to be a person of integrity. I'm saying this must distinguish themselves. So it's not about ideology yet. Ideology is something that changes from time to time. A party can even change ideology as circumstances unfold. You can be left-leaning today and say, no, the circumstances today deserves for us to move right. It doesn't matter. But basics, we don't want them to go there and be sucked in. We are not giving details here, but we don't want them to go there and be sucked in. And if you don't mind, I'll give you an example. If you have oversight functions in the National Assembly, right?
Yeah.
Let me tell you how oversight really are conducted. a chairman of the committee calls the MDA head to come for oversight. It is the MDA that provides accommodation, transportation, and logistics, and some level of upkeep for members of the committee, which is not supposed to be, because you are going to oversight somebody and the person is already paying part of your bills. There's already a compromise. So the first day you see them shout, quarrel, raise dust, and then movement happens, say back and forth. The next thing you see is that, okay, they are not being accommodated in the rot that they have discovered. We are saying Labour Party MPs shouldn't be part of this. So, for example, I would expect a Labour Party MP who is good for an oversight function to go on his own, pay his own bills, stay in one small apartment that he can afford, go to the oversight event proper, write your own minority report. If, for example, what you see is not what's going to be reflected in the main report, come to the floor and present it and help it out. You don't have to fight with anybody. Let people simply know that Labour Party people are not doing this. Let it be heard that, oh, it's a known fact in the National Assembly that Labour Party members do not collect naira, dollar, or pounds, or whatever. Let it be known. Let it be known that they are punctual at all. Let it be known that the ethics and morals and the code of conduct from members of the National Assembly are upheld by Labour Party members. That's enough for the Nigerian people.
So they should strive as much as possible to beat them and not join them.
Simple.
All right then. Asu Peter on YouTube. By the way, you can check us out on YouTube and Facebook at Nigeria Info Abuja, YouTube and Facebook. Asu Peter says, good afternoon, Dr. Majid. On the insecurity in the land. Okay, you are ahead of us. Oludade Abiodun. Good afternoon, Kim and Dr. Majid. I want to appeal to the president to include in his cabinet competent Nigerians in his government, whether former governor, technocrat, or he just needs these people in his government. Gom Daniel says, good afternoon, Kim, Dr. Majid. I want to ask a question. Who gives the Labour Party factional chairman confidence of telling people that there's going to be a rerun election? Well, I know some papers we had that to brace yourself for a rerun election, but things can be said and things can be written. Until then, Ovuna Declan says, let's see here. Okay, watching from Ebonyi State, Abakaliki, good to know. From Ebonyi State, thank you very much. Arinze is also watching from the Ebonyi capital. Thank you very much. Lilian Ngozi, I think it's generally too early, but again, I believe the Labour Party should be active on issues, especially issues affecting Nigerians directly. I know Peter Obi spoke on subsidy. On the National Assembly members, he met with them during their inauguration, but I'm afraid that some of them saw Labour as just a vehicle to achieving their personal interests and not really believe in the Peter Obi value. So that's also something to look at. There's usually that...
Who voted for them should call them. You see, you can't excuse... You have to call them to order. Because you have the power to do so. So we have to call them to order. And the party should have the people to call these people to order. And make them understand that, look, the only asset we have is the free votes of the people. And we can't afford to lose it going into the next round of election. Whether or not we win our case in court. But we have to do this for the Nigerian people. And so people should begin to call out their MPs. If you voted for an MP for free, call him out now and say, look, what are you doing there of my interest? You need to call him out. Yes, it's important.
All right then. And Oludade Abiodun wants to disagree with Dr. Majid because the Labour Party is also something as the PDP and APC. Don't forget, Obi himself is also from the PDP. That people think is a corrupt party after all. Let any politician come out and swear there's never helped himself with public fund. All right, as Oludade's taken. Someone is watching us from Guangzhou in China. Thank you very much for that. Now, let's move on to the Senate. And this time they're calling for a probe. And I know for a lot of Nigerians who feel like... it's not the first time we're getting to hear a report of you need to probe subsidy regime. You need to ask the NNPC PLC to, answer question on how they manage a subsidy in this country. And I know it's one area, Dr. Majid, I see the smirk on your face at this point in time because when it comes to this subsidy matter, it just feels like, no. I mean, there's a movie called Bed Box. It just blinds your eye and just tells you that you just don't understand what is going on. You can't see this evil. Now, the Senate on Tuesday constituted an ad hoc committee to investigate the first subsidy regime of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. And this followed the adoption of a motion by Patrick Chioba, APC Imo, during plenary on Tuesday. The motion was tagged need to investigate the controversial huge expenditure on premium motor spirit, PMS, under the subsidy under recovery regime by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited, or Company Limited. Now, moving the motion, he said the federal government on the 11th of May 2016 announced an increase in fuel pump price from 87 to 135 and 145 naira per litre. And this was in its fight against corruption and in order to plug the presumed highly proliferated leakages, wastages, and slippages surrounding the fuel subsidy, as well as an attempt to end the controversial subsidy regime. At the inauguration of the present government on the 29th of May, the president took a bold step to announce the total removal of subsidy, noting that the scheme has increasingly favored the rich more than the poor, and said the government's interest in exiting the subsidy was in line with the policy of reducing the cost of governance, the desire to eliminate corrupt practices which surrounds the scheme. And he went on to talk about the period of the subsidy exit attempt, substituted the term subsidy sometime back when it was done by the former president. They substituted it with under recovery without any recourse to the National Assembly or supervision by any other arm of government. While NNPCL, within 10 years, 2006 to 2015, claimed that 170 billion naira as under recovery, the same NNPCL within 13 months, January 2018 to January 2019, claimed a whopping sum of 843.121 billion naira as under recovery. And so he's worried that the under-investigated and alarming cost of under recovery direct deduction by NNPCL without necessary checks led to great misunderstanding of the government's good intention on subsidy removal. And so they want to ask questions. Come and explain now this under recovery and this subsidy, and perhaps really interrogate what it is, because I feel like we never really interrogated this.
Okay, really?
It was a case of, okay, we're paying subsidy, so much money. I mean, they throw figures around as to how much it is draining the nation. We're exhausted from paying subsidy. We're borrowing. We're neck deep in debt because of subsidy, where this and that. So it felt even to, maybe perhaps that's what we had, this national consensus, which people just like, let them even remove this subsidy so that we can breathe. So, but questions needs to be asked, actually.
These are the questions we should have asked long ago.
Before now.
And during the elections. We should have compelled the former president to say, these figures are not realistic. Doesn't make sense. So how are you claiming such humongous amounts of money for subsidy when it doesn't really reflect, it doesn't make economic sense at all? Because from what the gentleman was saying, it means that the amount you paid for subsidy in 10 years was less, far less, was like less than 15% of what we paid for
in 1 year.
In 1 year. So, you see, it made no sense. Even some members of the administration said, these figures that NNPC is turning out makes no sense. And like the senator rightly pointed out, they allowed NNPC to run this show on their own without anybody questioning them, because it was on the recovery they were doing. Piling up bills for Nigeria and making deductions from end accruals from revenue sales, from crude oil sales. So it was what we did to have asked. Now, look, is this real? And then we tried to say, look, throw the bath water and the baby away. And then they threw it away. And then here we are. Well, the investigation, I doubt if anything will come out of it as usual. Because except the president himself, our current president, has the will to investigate and probe the subsidy regime under his predecessor. I do not think anything will come out of it. And I'm still a bit amazed that the NNPC head is still keeping his job in the face of all of this. So it tells me that as long as it's there, it means it's a pat on the back for a job well done. Even when the rest of us are saying, we don't think so. So it depends on what the president wants. Well, it is good that this is coming to light. At least we hear some of the revelations. We will chew on it. We'll come here and discuss it. But again, if the president doesn't want to act on it,
he was the Minister of Petroleum. So, I mean, the former president.
But even the current president, for example, all he needs to do is to look, just to call an MP and say, let me see your books. How did this happen? It's like, see if, I don't know, something is not just right about it. And he may not be interested actually probing an NNPC on this matter, because he has made up his mind to remove subsidy. Not necessarily for the reasons you've enumerated, but because he thinks it doesn't make economic sense. And that was the same thing that two of his other co-rivals, co-contestants, also posited in the campaigns. And that's why Nigerians were goaded into accepting this poisonous pill that has drastically reduced an already impoverished people into deeper poverty threshold. So it's a serious issue. We've said it over and over. You see, energy, people don't understand. People don't know what we are into right now. First, the price of petrol will go up. It's not going to come down. Yes.
Go up above where we are this moment.
Of course, now.
This is the ceiling.
No, it will go up. It will go up. It's true now because first, those that will import petrol anytime from now are going to buy for it at the higher cost. They will go
Already,
to
they say consumption of petrol has reduced drastically by 18.5 million liters.
Are you not seeing cars? How many cars have you seen on the road?
Really, cars have actually reduced.
There's no more hold up in Abuja. Even Lagos, the traffic in Lagos has reduced. Because people can no longer afford it. People trek long distances now. We are back to Middle Ages, where people actually trek all over to scout for source of living. And that was why my position on this matter before, during and after remains constant. You see, energy is like, what energy is to the economy is what oxygen or free air is to living things, to human beings. And that is why God Almighty gives us energy, oxygen, for free. God, He knows that you cannot survive without oxygen.
Yeah.
If you ever see somebody that is surviving on life support, that needs to pay for oxygen, you understand why God gave us air to breathe for free. Because it keeps you alive. So you can survive with just breathing and breathing oxygen and breathing carbon dioxide for a number of days without food. But if you eat all the food in this world, all the most expensive food in this world, and in the next 1 hour you cannot breathe, you are dead. So you need food to grow, you need other things to grow, but you need oxygen, you need air to be alive, to exist. That's what energy is to the economy. You need energy for an economy to exist. And I'll break it down for you. If you are into the business of confectionery, for example, for you to produce your goods and services, for example, if you want to bake, say, cake, you need a refrigerator that runs on electricity to store your ingredients. Is that not so? You need a gas cooker or an electric oven to produce the cake, it mix and do all of that. Energy, energy, energy. You now need petrol in the vehicle that will not take that cake to the market. That is existence. There's no guarantee that anybody will buy that cake from you. You could go to the market and not get a buyer. That is growth now. So for you to get petrol, that is growth. But for you to carry that cake to the market, you need oxygen, you need air, you need energy to bring it to the market. That is why governments all over the world subsidize energy. Because you know that is the oxygen of the economy. That is, you need it to just be productive. Not talk about growth yet or even sales or petrol. No, that is another. Government needs to bring policies to make sure that you sell that cake, which also government's responsibility. But for you to be able to produce that cake at an affordable rate that will not break your back is for government to subsidize energy. And so
but some people want to take you back to, say, maybe some part of Europe where it's like breaking the bank to get a liter of fuel in your tank.
No, that's
maybe not factoring also what their minimum wage and earning is.
People that make such claims, you wonder whether they think right. I'll give you an example. It depends on the country and the jurisdiction.
Yeah.
For example, in Europe, what runs the economy is gas and electricity, not petrol. If you live in the UK, you don't need a petrol-driven car to survive. You don't need it. Ask anybody in the UK. You don't. It's of no consequence. There are subsidized bus services, train services,
metros, and the likes.
So you don't need you own a car in UK as a form of luxury. So they don't subsidize petrol directly in the UK, but they subsidize gas and electricity because it runs the economy. If you go to Germany, it is the same thing. Most European countries, electricity and gas runs the economy because they have both in abundance anyway. So Germany, for example, is going to spend 83 billion euros in 2020 to subsidize electricity for household and industries at the cost of 80%. Yes, to boost productivity. 83 billion euros. So in Nigeria, petrol is what drives the economy. You don't have electricity in abundance. You don't have enough. So petrol drives the economy more than electricity and gas. Petrol and diesel. These are the two most important energy products in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So nobody is asking what to subsidize electricity, for example, because it's not even there. I mean, you have 6 hours a day at most, sometimes 18 hours. In most places, you don't even have at all. Some places are not even national grid as we speak. So nobody's talking about subsidizing electricity per se. And if you remove subsidy on electricity, it won't affect Nigerians as much as if you do it on diesel or petrol, because that is what runs the economy. Your generator at home, generator at work, transportation, logistics, name it, is petrol. That's why if you touch petrol price, it creates inflation. It is felt immediately.
Quick response to it, yeah.
That is what runs the economy. So, for example, for a country that cannot afford to subsidize all range of energy products, you prioritize the one that is important to your economy. So in Nigeria, petrol is the one that runs our economy the same way gas and electricity runs UK and European economy generally. So in the US, for example, petrol runs the economy alongside gas and electricity. Because US does not have an organized public transport system. Americans drive cars. You know, Americans and their individualism, they drive cars. So America subsidizes petrol. Yes. As a matter of national priority. China subsidizes everything. Saudi subsidizes all energy products. There's nothing wrong with subsidy. So if you cannot afford to do all, you prioritize the one that is important to your economy and subsidize it. So that's why what petrol is to Nigeria is what electricity and gas is to UK, Europe, Germany, and other countries in that jurisdiction. So we should stop comparing apples and rotten mango. It does not. In UK, I can stay without a car. I have a family friend. She sold her car because it's of no use. They only use it during the weekends. And don't forget that in any of these countries you've called, Europe, UK, anywhere you want to call, they subsidize food. They subsidize housing. In some instance, like in Germany, housing is subsidized. Ireland, housing is subsidized. So they have a lot of other subsidies, including education, healthcare, and so many other things that they do. So don't stop comparing the price of petrol in Europe and Nigeria. It makes no sense. They not talk of the higher minimum wage and the per capita income of an average citizen in that country. So let's not compare. Energy subsidy creates productivity. Right now, there are fewer cars in Europe because people are no longer able to be productive.
I mean, we even had someone who is one of the fuel, I think, independent marketers, and it was really complaining at even what it means for their business.
Yes.
Actually, that they're not making half the sales they used to make before the subsidy was introduced.
It's a problem that no government allows to happen. So we didn't think through the subsidy issue all through the years that people are not trying to pontificate. And if you observe, all those who pushed us into this situation appear to have withdrawn and are no longer talking. They are not confused. I had one of the intellectuals saying that they should subsidize Gary and produce food stuff. For who and for where? Now, we have heard that the president has submitted, I don't know that it's true, a proposal to National Assembly now for 500 billion naira palliative. Who will get the palliative? What is the criteria? How? If you observe in 2012, when Jonathan removed subsidy on petrol, this conversation that we're trying to have now happened then. Bola Tinubu's position then was that no, sanitize the subsidy regime, fix refineries, build new ones. That was the APC position. Yes. Tinubu wrote a letter to President Jonathan then, criticizing his move and saying, look, this is going to hurt the economy. It's going to create poverty. And so Jonathan listened and said, okay, let me now reduce the subsidy. Let me not remove totally. So I'm going to increase petrol price from 65 naira to 97 naira. Then this increment itself, I'm going to do what is called Shopee. How did Shopee end up? So the most important palliative for Nigerians was energy subsidy for petrol. That was the most effective. It reaches almost everybody. Now, if you do palliatives, who are you going to give? Who will you not give? How will 500 billion naira go around? And what is going to be the process? Why are you going to do it? It won't solve any problem. And if corruption was responsible for subsidy removal, is that corruption, has it been banished in Nigeria? But that corruption also help come into
other areas?
In particularly even in this palliative distribution, how will corruption not affect it? Have we seen any new attitude in government so far that suggests that corruption is no longer in Nigeria? So we didn't ask the right questions. Why didn't you fix our refineries all these years? Is there any OPEC country in the world today without a functional refinery at home? Is there an OPEC country? Is it not a shame that Nigeria does not have a functional refinery, not one? That is the conversation we should have had before now. And I respected candidates of the other parties, particularly Labour Party, to have taken the position on, no, we need to fix refineries. We need to get Nigeria producing its own domestic needs of petrol. And then we can now begin to have a conversation from then. And when I come in and look at the subsidy, whatever, my concern as a presidential candidate should have been energy security. Energy security, that is affordable and availability of energy, simple for the citizens. So if I come in and discover that the subsidy was endemically corrupt, I cannot fix it, you can remove subsidy with a timeline to reinvest it in fixing our refineries. So that we can have local production and now begin to know where and how and when not to subsidize. So the best thing that the government should have done is, if you have no subsidy, it's not to bring up 500 billion naira palliatives. It's to use that savings from no subsidy to fix refineries. Why is our president not talking about fixing refineries?
Okay, so far,
why is it that it's not in the? It's not just in the agenda.
I've heard pro-government, supporters say, let the cabinet be set up, one step at a time. When a lot of things are just happening at once. Until you set up structure properly, that's when some of these things will start to come out.
He hasn't committed to say, look, no subsidy and the savings will go into refinery fixing And
but are we saving anything? Because you always said it's not as if we have a stash somewhere in some consolidated or sovereign or
it was
anywhere.
the government that talked
it
about,
was a borrowing.
It was government that said we're going to save such amount of money from subsidy.
You can't save what you don't have.
Thank you very much. Because we're actually doing under recovery. In fact, NNPCL is saying we are owing them over 2 trillion for under recovery that the government has not serviced since 2016. So that's another conversation altogether. This whole thing is a mess, and there's no substitute to fix your refineries, building new ones, and refining petrol as an oil-producing country.
Which is quite sad. Let's hear this caller quickly. Call us up on 0700 951 0000. Hello.
Hello, Kim.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you doing today?
Fine and well. Please turn off your radio. We're getting feedback.
All right. I've said hi to your guest there.
His name is Dr. Majid. What's yours?
My name is Williams.
All right, Williams, go ahead.
I say what Majid is saying this great afternoon, that if government should remove subsidy like they did, they should have look out what is the plan for the short term, what is the plan for the medium term.
Uh-oh. Sorry about that, Williams. Call back if you can. Hello.
Good afternoon, my sister.
Good afternoon.
I greet to Mr. Majid. God bless you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Welcome.
Something before I get somebody like you to talk with. Mr. Majid, if you agree with me, if Nigeria is a country like the United States of America, Muhammadu Buhari is supposed to be behind the bar now. If you will ask me why, let me explain. Mr. Majid, look at it. When he left office, Governor of Nasarawa State said he wasted $19 billion. Mr. Majid, I don't think your phone calculator...
finish it now, Adewumi. 19 billion on what? You don't complete your information.
$19 billion on refinery that does not work.
Exactly. Go ahead.
Before refinery does not work, and we hear that Dangote spent $18.5 billion to build his own. Are you telling me that Muhammadu Buhari is supposed to go scot-free? He's not supposed to go scot-free. It is because the way we are... I was with somebody from France this morning. I carried him to their embassy. He was telling me that we have a lot, but we are suffering that we are corrupt, we are thief. We like challenge him saying, it is true because this is what we are passing through. In a country of milk and honey. I'm telling you, if it is a country like US, look at Donald Trump. What offense did he commit? They never accused him of stealing 1,000. But look at it. He's facing the tax law. But look at here. Why is telling us that nobody should come and call him? Anybody who call him will get trouble. You can imagine.
I don't think he said that, but he said he would go somewhere far, far away if you do disturb him. And next time you take someone and they refer to all of us as thieves, can you please put up a defense for us for a minute? Because we're not all thieves. And we don't want this kind of bad, image and all of that reflecting on all one of us. Just a handful of people are doing that. Hello? Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Welcome to the show. What's your name?
This is Chinedu from Warempa.
Go ahead, Chinedu.
Mr. Majid, I greet you.
Good afternoon, sir.
You see, the only thing, and always call and say this because I know one good thing from Majid. He said government have business in business. And they always say this anytime I call. Is there any country in the world, according to the Majid analyst, that allow only marketers to decide how the economy runs? We are debating. Mr. President did well in the new fuel subsidy. What is that? What is his position in putting our refineries in order? Even if he control like this in 200 years, I asked you this in the other day, Kim. Kim, is there any businessman that like to lose? Please, I want you to ask, is there any businessman that want to lose that will tell me that if he did not put our refineries in order, then he continue to import fuel, then tomorrow fuel will come down to 200 naira? How possible is this? Those people are in union.
All right, thank you very much. Let's hear another caller. Hello. Good afternoon. Hello. Sorry about that. We have a caller waiting via WhatsApp. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Dr. Majid.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hello.
What's your name, sir?
I'm Jonathan calling from Samuel.
Go ahead.
At times, there will tell 1,000 barrels of oil is being sold. You understand? To so companies. You understand? And since all these days that this
This is
have been sold to other company or to the marketers, they haven't found out that like this vessel carry oil that they destroy. They haven't found out that something somewhere is being leaking. For them to discover how many thousands of oil have been missing. It's only yesterday or the day before yesterday, they found out. And when they found out, then gone down vessel. Why? Which means there's no evidence.
All right. Thank you very much. Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Okay, I'm good. You?
I do. I'm okay, my dear, by the special grace of Almighty God. Okay.
Yeah.
I greet you, and I greet the man of the people who want the truth. Please, remind me his name, please.
Dr. Majid.
Dr. Majid. May God bless you. This is Sisi, the good man from Kubwa.
Thank you very much.
My brother, I heard you say it. Clearly, people don't know where this country is heading to. It says, many people don't know where the country is heading to, but I know. It's very important. Tell that when one hand touches oil, it will affect the other. If not, I would have asked those who brought this pain to themselves, let them be facing it. And those of us who saw it will be exempted, and God should save us from it. Why am I saying so? My dear sister, just of it, not the one Obasanjo doing a cooker, this thing. He has said something before now like that.
All right.
That the only person for now that we said that we wanted is Peter. He knows why he's saying so.
All right.
There are Nigerians that don't want to hear that, but I tell you what they are going to say is dividends of tribal.
All right, Austin, we need to run for the news. Thank you very much.
I will call you back.
No, you've made your point. You don't need to call back. Thank you very much. Except you're calling back to tell me, since you know where Nigeria is headed. If you tell me when I'm going to make my first 1 billion, I call back and tell me that. All right, let's go on a break. When we return, we talk some more. We heard that a vessel carrying about how many liters? 800,000 illegally refined crude and stealing it was burnt down. We'll touch on that also after the break. Stay with us.
This is Nigeria Info.